Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Tim.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
Hey, good morning, Tim.
Good morning. There you go, Deanna. You're moving now. You look frozen for a second.
Oh,
Just for the for everyone on the call, we are live now. Just so you know. So just as always, please be on your best behavior.
thank you,
You
Chair.
shouldn't act like that screen.
and that goes for me too. You know, it goes for me as well. But it's good to see everyone.
Good to see all of you.
I know we absolutely deal with zero stress when it comes to work that we do. So I know our jobs are easy, and so it's always appreciate seeing you.
Chair Sandoval, I believe we have quorum already. 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
4, 5, 6. Let me double check.
Okay, and Committee Member Peralta is going to lead us in the pledge. And it is 12. So Eric, do you want to confirm we're good to go?
Let me just double check. Is Member Chauvelin online already?
We do have a quorum.
Great, thank you, Deanna. I appreciate it. Okay, very good. Okay, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting of the Capital Project and Construction Committee meeting to order. If I could ask Committee Member Peralta to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, can everyone hear me loud and clear?
Affirmative.
Yes, okay. So I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United
United
States.
of America and to the republic for which it stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
Okay, thank you, Committee Member Peralta. Okay, Eric, if I could ask you to please do roll call
Certainly,
or to take the roll.
certainly. And all committee members, please now turn on your microphone, please. Chair Sandoval,
Here.
Vice Chair Lyons,
I'm here.
Member Chauvelin,
here.
Member Moss,
Here.
Member Mahmood,
Here.
Member Solis, Vice Chair Solis office. Okay, no. Member Clark,
Here.
Member Morales,
Here.
Member Peralta,
Here.
Member Hepburn,
Here.
Chair Sandoval, we have a quorum.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Shen. Okay, we move to public comment. This is the opportunity for the public to submit comments. And Eric, I ask you, or Mr. Shen, I ask you at this time, or have we received any public comments for any non-agenda items?
We do not have any, we do not receive any public comments at this time.
Okay, great, thank you. So we go ahead and move on to Chairman's remarks. I'll be incredibly brief. I think all of you probably know that I was selected to serve the San Gabriel Valley sector on the Metro Board. Thank you. And there is the main Metro Board meeting, but there are also subcommittees that I sit on, including the construction committee. And there's an outgoing director that did an outstanding presentation on some of the challenges that we all see in the projects that we for the projects that we've been witness to that have resulted in cost overruns or just the concerns that we all have about projects that are delayed and ultimately result in costs that concern us all. Well, he did a presentation for us. So I've asked Mary Lou, who's my assistant, to see about setting up a meeting for the COG to have him present. I think it would be valuable for us to hear it and to ask him questions. He's about to retire. He's a dean of sorts at Metro, and we're certainly going to be losing a lot of valuable expertise. And I think it's important that we get a chance to see the presentation. I've already shared that with Mr. Shen, and if the board is, if the committee is okay with that, I'd like to have him speak sooner rather than later, just given that he'll be leaving, I believe, in March or April. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's
Sounds
it. On my end, I really hope everyone's doing well. And at this time, I'd like to go ahead and move on to the next item, which is member comments. Anybody from the committee who would like to say a few words? And just raise your hand or indicate to me that you're interested. Even if you just need to unmute yourself, I'm good with that. I see that your hand is up. Member Mahmood, please go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to give you all a heads up. I was fortunate enough to have my second dose. I'm a senior, and I had my second dose last Sunday, a week ago Sunday. And I had no reaction to the first administration of the Pfizer vaccine. I had slight chills and slight soreness in my arm from the second. But what really threw me for a loop is that, and I looked on the internet and I haven't seen anything to this effect, but my arm became sore the fourth day after administration of the dose, and it became really sore the fifth day to the point that I really couldn't do it. I couldn't make any use of my arm. And I took care of myself, and I'm happy to report that I felt a lot better yesterday, and I feel completely recovered today. But I just wanted to give you all a heads up because I have seen absolutely nothing to warn of this, and the soreness was in the same area that the shot had been administered, and I have no reason to believe that it was attributable to anything other than the shot. So I think my experience might be unusual, but because it's unusual, in case this happens to you, I wanted to share you will not be the only one. Thank you.
Member Mahmood, thank you for sharing that. We're happy that you're doing.
I'm sorry.
We hope that you're feeling better. Thank you.
I'm right back at it. Thank you.
Great. Good to have you. Any other comments from committee members?
Tim, could I jump in real quick?
Is that Margaret?
Yeah.
Margaret,
I've
go
had
ahead.
both Pfizer and I had no reaction. So I wonder if maybe Diana is going to be more immune than I am. I'm sorry you had to go through it, but I have heard my daughter's a doctor, and she was very tired and achy the next day. So with Pfizer, so I think it's just random maybe, but I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. Thank you, Margaret. And Member Mahmood, if it helps, I don't know if you shared this with your medical doctor, or I have, of course, in Pomona, we have the Cal Poly Pomona site that's being ran by Kaiser. If you'd like to share any of this with somebody from Kaiser, just because they're helping to administer that at the Cal Poly site, and you think it would be helpful, I'm sure it would be for them, I'd be happy to connect you, okay?
If you can give me a name of someone, I'd be happy to share that. I was thinking of reaching out to either Dr. Ferrer or Dr. Manchu Davis to share with them, because I really thought it was quite unusual. And like I said, I found nothing on the internet that warned of this.
Okay.
And I
All
think
right,
people should just be warned just in case, in the unlikely event that it happens to them, they know that it's nothing more serious.
Sure. Okay. All righty. Thank you, Member Mahmood. Any other comments from the committee? Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands. Okay, we can go ahead and move on to the next item. It's the Director of Capital Projects Monthly Report. Mr. Shen, I turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Chair. Respectfully, I'm presenting the February report to the committee. You may have noticed some refinement to staff reports this month. And my goal is to provide the committee with concise, accurate, and articulated information on every single item. And I certainly am committed to work with you to continue to refine the report format to ensure that every report clearly explains our activity to you. Under programs, first, I'd like to report on the status of the Regional Vehicle Mile Traveled Mitigation Fee Structure Study. I know it is a mouthful. We will soon release a request for proposal for the development of study. As of today, 22 member cities have agreed to financially contribute to this study. We will provide periodical updates back to the committee. Next is the San Gabriel Valley Transit Study. Staff have completed proposal reviews and interviews. We plan to present our recommendations for contract awards at the governing board in April or May. We will also provide periodic updates back to you regarding our progress. Under projects, first, the Gold Line Transit Oriented Development Pedestrian Bridge project in the city of Laverne is under design. We submitted an application for the current cycle of active transportation funding to the state of California for constructing the bridge. Unfortunately, our application was not selected, and we will continue to seek funding in the future cycles or other grant opportunities after we completed the design and get this project constructed.
Mr. Chen, I don't
Yes.
mean to interrupt you. Are there slides associated with your report? Because I noticed it says agenda pages 1 through 4. I don't know if they're, were slides
No.
intended to be a part of your presentation?
No, there's no slides intended.
Okay, just
So,
confirming. Yeah, just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen.
So in case you have the reports in front of you, please follow along. Otherwise, I hope my verbal report will be sufficient and help you to understand the items. Next, the State Route 5760 Interchange Improvement Project. Staff is in the process of reviewing public outreach support services for the Diamond Bar Golf Course mitigation improvement. We plan to present recommendation for contract award at the committee's meeting in March. Under contracting, 2 staff authorized modification on existing contracts since the last report are being included in this report. We issue a $49,564 revision to StanTag to provide continued service for the rain event action plan. The original approved contract for StanTag for providing environmental management service in fiscal year 2020 and 2021 is $505,289. The most recent staff authorized amount accounts for 98% cumulative usage of the available contingency for StanTag. One additional explanation I like to make here is that when we look at all of the contracts that we issue on June 1st of 2020 as part of the annual contract for several consultants, the total amount for that entire package was estimated at $5.7 million ish, as we footnote in the report. So we wanted to be clear that if we were to take the contingency amount against the total contracts that we issued back in June, the StanTag usage, StanTag contingency amount would have appeared much smaller. But we want to be transparent specifically with StanTag back in June, when we issued a task order for $505,000. Now we issue a $49,000 amendment. We depleted at a 98.1% of contingency, and we do not intend, unless it's absolutely necessary, we do not intend to go beyond what has been allocated as part of that project. Next, staff authorized 2 revisions to Moffett-Nichol for the design phase of the Montebello Boulevard Grade Separation Project. Both revisions do not increase the contract amount, To date, the cumulative use of the available contingency on Muppet Nickel contract is at a 91.03%. Under community outreach activity update, our staff attended a virtual event hosted by the Construction Management Association of America, or its abbreviation is CMAA, and share some of the contracting information with attendees. The community outreach support for all of our projects ongoing and going well. And with that, I will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, the item is for receive and file.
Okay. Questions from committee members? Yes, Member Mahmood.
Yes, first of all, Eric, I'd like to compliment you on implementing the revised methodology with regard to calculating the contingency. I think it's appropriate to identify 10% per project. And also thank you for providing the revised format. And among other things, I find the cumulative use of available contingency very helpful. I would just also suggest that here you identify what the anticipated completion date for the project is, so that we get some sense of the proportionality of the available or lack of available contingency fund with respect to the anticipated duration of the project. With that in mind, with regard to Moffett and Nickel, with the time extension only through July 31st of this year, is that the anticipated completion of the design work?
I do not believe so. Again, there are still additional work. Let me double check with my staff and then get back to you on the anticipated completion date on the final design phase. I will provide that information to committee after the meeting. I do not have the information with me right now.
Thank you. I just want to confirm though, the total design contract is 13.495 million. And with this change order, we will have utilized 91% of the contingency, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to first go to Vice Chair Lyons, and then I'll go to Supervisor Solis.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say that I think this is much easier to understand the new format. And so thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lyons. Supervisor Solis?
Yes, thank you. Sorry I joined a little late here, but wanted to hear from Eric about very quickly on the San Gabriel Valley Transit Study. When do we anticipate the awards for that proposal, and what amount are we looking at, generally speaking?
That's a great question. Let me respond in two distinct pieces of information. First relates to the status of contract award. We have completed our interviews both for the outreach consultant and also for the technical consulting firms. We are currently in the process of receiving the cost estimate from the technical consulting team, who was ranked #1 by the technical review committee. So we gave them the deadline by this Friday. We expect to receive their cost estimate, and then we will begin negotiating, looking at their scope versus their cost. From there, we will proceed with similar approach to negotiate on the cost with the outreach consultant. We have interviewed a number of teams, and we have the top rank that are currently waiting for us to provide instruction. So we look at the current time frame. We think it is most likely will go back to the governing board in April, or no later than the meeting in May. That's the current status. With respect to the cost, What I could respond to the committee is in FY20, there's Metro allocated $1.5 million for this current fiscal year on this project. And we're working very closely with Metro staff. At this point, we have to wait until the cost proposals from both teams in order for us to explain and then provide you with an update. What would be the total cost to complete this work, this important project? And it is understood by both agencies, both Metro and the San Gabriel Valley COG, that if additional funding is necessary, if at the approval of Metro Board of Directors, then additional funding may be allocated to the project to complete the project.
Thank you for the update. I do want to let you know that I have been very keenly involved with this and want to see this hurried along in a good way. We're very anxious to see what plans are being drawn up, and know that we also had asked Metro to help provide an additional augmentation. That's how we got to the 1.5. It was actually less than that. If you recall, I don't know if you recall, but that's what the situation was. So we do have support from Metro, and I hope we can keep within this estimate. That's all. So
thank you very much for the reminder. And we so far we have been very fortunate to have very engaging partners over Metro. So we'll continue to work with them to move forward this very important project for us.
Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate this, Eric. Thank you.
Supervisor, thank you for your work. Thank you for your work on that effort. Appreciate it. Also, are there any other committee members who wish to speak? Okay, I was just going to say that I agree with Vice Chair Lyons, and I do like the format. It's an improvement. So, Mr. Shen, thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. Also, I agree with Member Mahmoud's recommendation as well. So this is a receive and file. So the board doesn't, or say the committee doesn't need to take any action on this item. So unless I don't hear any other questions or comments, we can go ahead and move on to the next item, Mr. Shen, which
Thank
is
you, Chair.
project progress report. I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Our next item is our monthly update on our construction activities. Today, we're going to start with our Senior Project Manager, Charles Tan, to provide an update on the progress of Fairway Drive grade separation project. Then our second project update relates to Durfee grade separation project. With your permission, we're going to, when we get to that project, we're going to lump it into item number 8 on the Durfee project and also lessons learned. So with that, with your permission, we're going to proceed with Charles' presentation.
Thank you, Eric. And thank you, Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'll give you a couple of slides to show where we are on this project. The first, as we reported last month, we are setting up a lot of ties along the UP right-of-way, right? I'm glad to report to the committee again that this month, the tie is pretty much all in position. So our next phase is clipping the rail, so-called in the railroad crews terminology, they call it the spaghetti strip. What we did is we grabbed those heavy rail, the metal rail, and then clip that onto the ties. So that's going to be another 10 to 12 days process. Keep in mind, these rails are 140 pounds per track feet. So we are using the machine that you see in the middle. I don't know if you can see the cursor. The train engine is running on the shoe fly on the left-hand side. The machine running on the middle is those cranes that we grab the rail and then set it on the ties. So this will be pretty much the next week's activity. Next, please. And in the meantime, the civil concrete crews, they are demolishing the intersection of Business Parkway at Fairway Drive, which is like the north of the grade separation. You can see the machine is lifting up the existing pavement. If you recall, we reported to the committee a while back that this intersection, we will lower it by 5 feet plus minus to start the grade separation. So there will be quite a bit of excavations ongoing. So this is kind of like the part on Business Parkway east of the intersection where we join existing project limits. Next, please. And for the concrete that we removed from the site, we are planning to reclaim those to meet the environmental requirement. So we set up an on-site crushing plant. So those concrete chunks that we got from the demolition will feed to the hopper on the left-hand side, and they will crush into smaller size rock, about 2.5 to 3 inches size. And we'll use that as the road-based material and put it back on the street. Next, please. And this is like the material that we just crushed. We'll put it in the middle. This is the median, the proposed median north of the intersection along Fairway Drive. So you are looking north at this time. We are grading that median, and we target to pour the curb in the next 2 weeks. Next, please. This is the Furniture of America parking lot, which is located to the south of the track on the west side of Fairway Drive. Last month, we reported to the committee that you see the picture on the lower right-hand corner. We prep it and ready to put the blacktop on. Soon after, we finished the AEC paving operation. The fence is all done, and the property owner actually moved the container back. So we returned the site back to the owner. So they are happy, and I think that's what we plan to do. I'm open for any questions. If not, I'll turn it back to Eric.
Okay, any questions from committee members? Let me see if I see any hands. Are there any hands up? I'm not seeing any hands.
Nancy's hand is up.
Okay, forgive me. I didn't see it. Go ahead, Nancy. Or is that? I presume that's our vice mayor, our vice chair, Lyons. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just have a question, and Charles, it just made me think of something. I saw an article in the Los Angeles Times about using repurposed empty water bottles as part of the blacktop or part of the pavement. Have we given any thought to that? Is that practical? It just seems like a good idea if that's something that we could do.
Actually, if we're familiar with the project instead of industry, we have about 70% truck traffic. So the project in this particular area, we have 2 issues that we got to deal with. One is high traffic index, a lot of trucks. They are usually heavily loaded. And number 2, for this particular project site, Fairway Drive, we have I call it below expectation soil condition. We have a lot of silty clay. So, so with those elements in mind, our designer, they did look into like various options, but the one that you just mentioned probably won't work in this scenario because it induces a lot more uncertainties of the pavement's behavior. So these people, they are putting trucks and tractor trailers coming in usually in the over 20, 30,000 pound per load. And we need to reinforce them with a higher than average thickness of concrete or AC to stabilize it. Otherwise, property owner need to come back on a more frequent basis to rehabilitate their pavement in their parking lot loading dock. So we treat this area as like their loading dock treatment. So we anticipate they need to handle a lot higher truck load. So that's why we need to use kind of like the premium quality, premium structural design.
So what I think you're saying is that because of how heavy the trucks are, that this idea or this material wouldn't work. Is that correct?
It won't work in our scenario. It probably work in like like lower traffic index type usage.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I was just curious.
You're welcome.
Good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Any other committee members who wish to speak?
I think Member Mamou has a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Not a question, but again, a compliment to staff for the on-site recycling of the concrete. That is awesome. I don't recall seeing something previously that we have done this on other projects, but I hope that we can continue to do this where feasible. And I would also recommend that we consider the potential for incorporating where we have asphalt, the recycled tire component within the asphalt application.
Thank you for your comment, Committee Member Mahmood. I would like to respond on that. Actually, Los Angeles County Department of Public Works, they have a very restrictive requirement of using recycled asphalt. On our projects, we also consider that as well, but we keep it as a low percentage use because once again, we need to meet the structural strength analysis that approved by County Public Works staff as our plan checkers. So on our specs, we did allow a small portion of recycled AC, but not in a large percentage. Because we use that, we actually grind those AC into very fine material and to bind the concrete chunks that we have. So to achieve the strength that we want, we need big chunks of rocks, and at the same time, we need a smaller diameter or smaller size fines so they could bind. So that helps during the compaction process. So I would like
For example,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Next meeting, I could bring some photos how we mix the two material to make our road-based material, and I will bring that and present that to the committee.
Thank you. I would also suggest, for example, in the photograph that we have here, where we've got an asphalt coating that appears new as a result of the prior construction work that we did, I would hope that that might be an opportunity to incorporate the recycled rubber in that asphalt, because I assume it's it is subject to much less heavy wear as the road. I understand the durability requirements for roads. And so there will be times when we can't do that, but to the extent that we can incorporate an environmental ethos into all of our construction projects, I think that is something that all of our members would strongly support. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. We'll make a note of it. In the future, when we have opportunities to look at our specs, I will definitely take your advice and see how we can incorporate and be the leader in terms of using recycled material.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sang. Thank you, Mr. Shen. Okay, we do not need to take any action on this item. Thank you for the update. We can go ahead and, do you need to add anything, Mr. Shen, to this item?
No, I would just, with your permission, I will proceed on the next item.
Okay.
And next, our project manager, Renee Cornell, will provide an update on the Durfee Avenue grade separation project construction activities and share some lessons learned through the project. And he has some, I believe he's going to show you a very nice drone footage. So with that, Renee, please proceed.
Good afternoon, committee members. So in this photo, we're placing a waterproof membrane for the Union Pacific Bridge. It's orange, so it looks pretty cool. It was a steel bridge. So what we're gonna do is we're placing several layers to waterproof the bridge. Once we lay the tracks, we don't want water going in between the bridge. So what that allows us to do is to surface the runoff to one side or the other. So it'd be a pretty bad thing for water to get in between. So if you notice when you go underneath the bridge, you notice water coming in from one side or the other. That's because we're channeling it to one side. So in this picture, we're pretty much done with the first layer, but it's several layers of waterproofing. Next photo. In this picture, what we're doing is we're drilling for the roadway retaining walls. That drill machine, it's drilling 40 feet below the surface. And what we're going to do after we drill, we place a rebar cage and then we fill it with concrete. So that allows us to build our retaining walls, and that helps for settlement. Also, in an event of an earthquake, the retaining wall won't really jump. And what you're looking at is the south view, and that's the bridge there. And on the side, what you see is a temporary wall. So that allows us to build our retaining wall. Once we build the wall, we backfill it, and then we're able to remove that temporary wall. Next slide. In this photo, what we're doing is we're grading the tracks for the Union Pacific Railroad. The 2 tracks on the east side will be shifted towards the west side. So that machine right there has GPS, so that allows us to build the embankment to a tolerance of a couple of 1/8 of an inch. And then that we're going to build that for the Union Pacific. And next month, what they're going to do is they're going to place the rock and shift the tracks onto the new bridge. Next photo. And in this aerial view, what you see right there is those large pipes. Those are for drainage. So obviously when it rains, we don't want the water getting stuck in somewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to drain the water into that storm drain system and take it into the local county system. And those are pretty big. I think they're around 48 inches. And then in the next slide, we have a time lapse. As of last Friday, we completed the bridge. It's ready for the Union Pacific to come and lay their tracks. And right now we're just waiting for their crews. They're scheduled to come at the end of this month, and they're going to start bringing in equipment. And in the next 2 months, they're going to lay the rock, lay the tracks, and shift the tracks into the new bridge. So as you can see, those are the huge, I believe they're around 60-ton girders. No, sorry, that's too much. It's around 20-ton girders. It took several days. They came from Arizona. They were delivered on site. That crane picked them up, set them down, and it's a time lapse. Our construction management team was able to get permission from the local business owner there, put his time lapse camera, and shoot the whole thing.
Mr. Shen, we can't hear you. We think you're talking, but I can't hear you.
Oh, there's no audio to the video. Sorry.
Okay, we might have a little delay here because he was unmuted, but I didn't hear him. Does that conclude your presentation?
And then one last item we wanted to share for the project is a couple of lessons learned. Since we finished the bridge last Friday, right now the project is on schedule. As we're waiting for the Union Pacific crews to come, and it's been discussed before, but some of the delays that we encounter during these projects are either third-party utilities or the Union Pacific. In this project, we experienced a 1-year utility delay, but our team was able to resequence the construction activities to get us back on schedule. And another obstacle we had to overcome was the Union Pacific. When we designed the project, we assumed and designed the project to use industry-wide practices. During the submittal review, the Union Pacific decided that they wanted to enforce their means and method. After several rounds of going back and forth, we decided to do what the Union Pacific said. It did add a couple of construction, it did increase our not the overall construction budget, but we did spend approximately $400,000. But the good thing is, a part of the project, there is a line item for this type of work. It's unforeseen railroad changes. So we spent around $400,000, but the budget was $625,000. We could have gone back and forth and argued with the Union Pacific, but at a certain point, it would have, if we would have stuck to our stance, we probably would have delayed the project several months. These projects are typical delays around $20,000 to $30,000 a day. So with the Union Pacific, it could have gone back up 2 to 3 months, and that would have been $1 million to $2 million of additional cost to the project. And at the end of the day, they would have said, do it my way or don't do it. But we were able to work as a team, and right now we're on schedule. Next month, the Union Pacific is going to come, and if they stick to their schedule, we're going to finish the project on time. And I'm ready for any questions Eric and I can answer.
Thank you, Mr. Cornell. Appreciate it.
And Chair Sandoval, I think my microphone is now back online.
Yes, we can hear you now. You're good.
Apologize. Earlier, I wanted to point out is that as you watch the time lapse, you would have noticed our crew, construction crew, was working while the train was in operation. I think those are all of the concerns and safety measures that we all put in place. And again, I think we pride ourselves in addition to all of our crew members, safety first. That also adds to the overall cost. And I think that is one of the fundamental elements that very often people would ask, how come in the United States, our projects cost far more than other countries? It really is the safety, the requirements that we impose to protect our laborers. And those are all at a cost, and that's part of how we deliver project in the United States. And I see Member Mahmood and Member Clark.
Before Member Mahmood goes up, just Mr. Shen, I think it would be great when we get through this pandemic is for the committee members who so choose is to have a field trip of sorts, perhaps even a lunch, where they can see the different projects. I'm thinking particularly for some of our new committee members. You know, certainly we come to these meetings and we hear reports and we see.
And Chair
we
Sandoval,
we see pictures, but I think actually being there and seeing it in person, obviously mindful of safety, I think it would be great for our committee members to have that opportunity. Let's get through this pandemic part and then we can do that.
And that's a great suggestion. In fact, that's my closing remark on this item. The weather is getting better, and any committee member is welcome to coordinate with us. If you want to have a one-on-one, we'll make sure that you receive safety briefing out in the field. The Derby project is very exciting to see things are coming along. I know in the future, we would love to host a field meeting with all the committee members. But at the same time, in the very near future, if any committee member would like to come out, just let us know. We'll give you an individual tour of the site.
Thank you, Mr. Shen. Member Mahmood?
Hi, I am very concerned about the reported 1 year delay due to a utility. Was this Southern California Edison?
I believe so, yes.
Did we do anything to raise the issue up the ranks?
Last year it had to do with the fires and the outages. So at emergency work, we pretty much had to work around it.
But that's extraordinary. I mean, a year's delay is extraordinary. I would strongly suggest that we do a couple of things where we are not getting cooperation after delay of, 60 to 90 days. I would raise this issue and make sure that our executive director is aware of this delay so that she can raise it at an appropriate executive level within Southern California Edison. And if we still get no positive response, I think you need to send a letter to the CPUC because that is just flatly unacceptable. Edison can hire contract folks to do the work. I know they're prioritizing the work to advance their high wildfire risk, but it should not be at such an extraordinary delay as you described. We really need to do something different going forward. I don't want to hear about another year-long delay. That's unacceptable.
Luckily, we were able to move some of the construction activities and still stick on time with the overall construction schedule. So we were lucky in that side.
I see that, but you're not always going to have a contractor or the feasibility to move around your CPM.
That's correct.
Member Mambu, you're absolutely right. We are fortunate on this project. The CMT and the contractor out in the field was willing to work with us and resequence without significant added cost on owner. And you are absolutely right. We'll continue to monitor. This time around on this project, we got lucky. We were able to work around SCE's constraints and stay on track. And we will take your advice that going forward, we'll closely monitor our interaction with SCE and other third-party utilities and keep you posted. if significant delay is anticipated.
Thank you. As well as the executive director, she ought to be aware so that she can raise the issue with appropriate Edison personnel. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Member Clark's hand is up.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. And I totally agree with Diana. And if there are any cost increases due to that, then we should give Edison a bill. This is unacceptable.
Thank you, Member Clark. Mr. Shed, anything to add?
I believe Member Hepburn has a comment.
Okay, sorry. And anybody who chairs meetings, whether they're boards or committees, knows that you don't always see everyone's end up. So forgive me. Member Hepburn, you happen to be all the way at the end on my little list. There we go. Much better. All right. I'm not trying to forget you, Tim.
I'm very sorry to hear I'm at the end of your list, but that's okay. I'll get over it real quick. No, just to basically agree with Member Mahmood and Member Clark that being in the construction field, there are plenty of construction, especially for linemen and things like that, when it has to do with utilities with Edison. They have, over the last, I guess, 15 or 20 years, have outsourced a tremendous amount of their work to outside contractors. So, and after seeing with Fairway and some of these other ones, the more information we get quicker, the more that we can address these. And again, with our director, Crater, and just to be able to know what these problems are, begin with, escalate to the top, and I agree 100%. So more information, quicker response, less delays. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anything, Ed? Mr. Shen? No?
No.
We can, okay, thank you. Don't need to take any action on this item.
That's correct. This is
Okay, we go ahead and move on to the next item. It's the approval. Okay.
Actually, the next item is approval of our meeting minutes from January.
I thought so, yeah. I wanted to make sure. That's agenda item 9.
So moved.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I have a first. Can I get a second?
Second, Hepburn.
Roll call vote?
Chair Sandoval,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lyons,
Yes.
Member Shevelin,
Yes.
Member Moss,
Yes.
Member Mahmood,
Yes.
Member Solis,
Yes.
Member Clark,
Yes.
Member Morales,
Yes.
Member Peralta,
Yes.
Member Hepburn.
Yes.
Chair Sandoval, the item passed unanimously.
Great, thank you. We go ahead and move on to agenda item 10, which is the approval to establish a capital projects ad hoc committee to examine ACE program cost and funding. Before I turn it over to Mr. Shen, I really want to thank Member Mahmood for her work. This is really, I don't want to say it's completely her doing, but it's really her assistance with this was a huge step forward. So I want to acknowledge you, Member Mahmood. So Mr. Shen, I turn it over to you so you can give your report and then we can go to weigh in.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. My colleague, Paul Hubler, Director of Government and Community Relations, will make a brief presentation on this recommendation.
Thank you, Eric. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, staff is recommending that the committee take action today to establish a temporary ad hoc working group of committee members. That working group would work with staff to examine the ACE program cost increases and available grant funding, which was a subject of some discussion at last month's meeting. The ad hoc committee, we want to make clear, would take no action, but instead would digest this information and report to the full committee, we anticipate, by your April meeting. As a matter of process today, we recommend that Chair Sandoval solicit and receive self-nominations from those committee members who are interested in serving on the ad hoc working group. And we then ask for the committee to vote to confirm the appointment of those working group members. That concludes my report. Be happy to answer questions, if any.
Okay, before we take any nominations, do any of the committee members wish to speak on this item?
Chair Sandoval, this is Member Moss.
Yes, Member Moss, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify. So Paul, this is going to be made up of committee members only?
Committee members working with staff.
Okay.
Advised by staff, yeah.
Okay, because I had some questions of whether or not any members of like the Public Works Tech Advisory Committee would be involved in that at all.
If I could just clarify, the actual committee will only be made up of members of the Capital Projects Committee, but they'll be able to work with staff, because if we put a staff member on the committee, then it would be subject to the Brown Act.
Understood. Okay. Well, with that being said, I do want to ask that I, could volunteer for this, but when we get there.
Yeah. You bet. I'm going to call on Member Shevlin and Member Peralta in just 1 second. Just so you know that there was a error in the report. Eric brought this to my attention. It indicates that the executive director will designate. That's not correct. We will collectively designate. Okay, Member Shevlin, and then we'll go to Member Peralta.
I just wanted to clarify something, because I had talked to Marissa and also I think Diana regarding the possibility of just a general study session for everyone. Is this different? Obviously, it sounds very specific with specific membership. So I know because Eric is new, there was some discussion about maybe a study session for everyone would be helpful. So this is different from that, obviously.
Yeah, well, this is a different approach. I don't think it supplants a study session. I think that's always something that would probably, depending on the desire of the committee, we could definitely bring that back in April when this ad hoc committee, at which time this ad hoc committee could be part of that study session. I think it complements one another.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
great.
the two are not mutually exclusive. I mean, I had always envisioned this to have the ad hoc, but you also have the study session.
Okay, great. Yeah. Just wanted to make that clarification.
Thank you, Member Shevlin. Member Peralta?
My question was answered. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Great. All right. So I think Member Moss indicated an interest. Did I hear you correctly, Member Moss?
Yes, you did.
Okay, and I'm interested in that as well. And I think I'd like to ask Member Mahmood. I think it's important that she's on as well. I know that you have made this an important part of your work here on this committee. And if you're okay with that, I'd like to ask that you serve on it as well.
Thank you. I'd be happy to. Having planted the seed for this or being responsible for it, I do think in response to Member Shevlin's comment that that I see the work of the committee as really ferreting through, doing the deeper dive through the relevant information, so that at the end of our work that we can in fact provide or we can identify for staff what we think is most relevant for the rest of the committee to learn. Also, I would just note I'm surprised by the April date. That seems optimistic, but I am absolutely willing to take a wait and see attitude. If we can get it done by then, that's great.
Great, thank you. Member Sutherland, I see your hand. Is it still up?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll take it down. No, that's okay.
And I just so you know, right now I have 3 names. It indicates in the report there can be 3 members. I spoke to Mr. Hubler and he indicated to me we can actually have 4 committee members on this ad hoc. So there's an additional person. I'm going to go to Ms. Peralta and then to Mr. Hepper. Ms. Peralta?
Yes, Chair Sandoval. There is a lot of concern among my colleagues and our constituents in regards to the ACE project in Montebello, which, we are now facing funding concerns and also delayed timeline and not having actual certainty of when this project will be completed. So as a representative of Montebello on this committee, I would like to express my great interest in being part of this working ad hoc.
Thank you for sharing that, Member Peralta. That brings us to 4. I want to make sure we hear Mr. Hepburn. Go ahead, Mr. Hepburn.
No, I'm fine with that. I just would like to throw my hat in there too with my experience, but I think everybody's got the best interest of the whole thing in mind. So I'm comfortable with everybody.
Thank you, Member Hepburn. So that I see Vice Chair Lyons' hand is up, but just so the four names, it's myself, it's Member Mahmood, Member Moss, and Member Peralta that would make up the ad hoc. Unless certainly I want to make sure we hear from. If I could have everyone to put their hand down if they've already spoken. Vice Chair Lyons.
Yes, I mean, I would also be interested in serving in this capacity, but I do think that Member Hepburn, because that's his business, I think it's sort of a construction business, he could be very valuable on this particular committee. And so I would certainly vote that he should be part of it.
Well, thank you, Ms. Lyons, Vice Chair Lyons. I think that at least Mr. Hepburn had said that he would like to be on it, but he's okay with the four that have been selected. Are you still okay with that, Member Hepburn?
I'm okay with what the body wants.
Okay. All right. Okay. I see Member Peralta, you still have your hand up. I see Member Mahmood, you still have your hand up. Want to make sure that I acknowledge you. Okay, good. Okay, it looks like Member Mahmood, go ahead.
Thank you. I would just like to remind the committee, the purpose of this committee is not advocacy. So it would be inappropriate to advocate, in my view, for a particular project. The purpose of the committee, as I see it and as I conceived it, is to do a forensic analysis of the challenges that lie ahead and to consider what projects, how we proceed. And it would be inappropriate for any member, in my view, it would be inappropriate for any member to advocate for a project within their respective community. That's not the purpose of this committee. The purpose of this committee is to do a forensic analysis of the available money and the construction challenges to figure out how best the ACE will complete the projects that it has undertaken to date.
Thank you, Member Mahmood. Okay, all right. So I have, really I have 5 names because Member Hepburn just said, well, if the committee will consider me, then please consider me. And of course, Vice Chair Lyons said, I think it would be good to have Member Hepburn. Unless Mr. Hepburn is willing to step out, then we have 5, and we'll need to eliminate one person. Member Shevlin, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's why I asked my earlier question. I think generally across the board, everyone has interest in this particular area. And that's why I talked about a general study session. But to go back to what Diana was saying, to do a deeper dive on specific items of the costs and things along that line. And then they could bring it back to our board, and then we can have a broader conversation. But to have that ad hoc do the deeper dive as to various details and then bring it back to all of us, because I think everybody has an interest, and I would agree with her on the idea that the purpose is not to advocate for any particular project. It had to do with an overall process. Because there was quite a bit of concern regarding cost overruns and various aspects of costs.
Okay, thank you, Member Shevlin. So is there any of the 4, or I should say 5, that is willing to pull their name is to step out? Any of the 5? Okay, I'll go ahead and pull my name out. So we'll have the 4. I will not be on the ad hoc committee. Okay.
Well, and if I could, Mr. Chair, I do think, I mean, I am a former public works lawyer. That's why I'm volunteering for this. I don't know what other expertise the other members have, but I think it would be very helpful to have Mr. Hepburn with his construction expertise. This is really more of a technical endeavor. This is not at all policy, and this is not at all advocacy. And were it not for my public works background, I wouldn't volunteer.
Understood. Okay, we've solved that issue. Mr. Hepburn will be on the committee. I will step aside. You will have your 4, and we can go ahead and move on. So I have a motion. Can I get a motion from the committee?
I move that we accept those 4 to be on this special committee.
Okay, all right. Can I get a second?
Second, Shevlin.
Yeah, and just the 4 are Member Mahmood, Member Hepburn, Member Peralta, and Member Moss.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and do a roll call vote, Mr. Shen.
Chair Sandoval,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lyons,
Yes.
Member Shevlin,
Yeah.
Member Moss,
Yes, I'm a yes, it's Shevlin. Yes, I'm sorry.
And yeah, thank you.
and Member Mahmood. I heard you. Member Solis,
Yes.
Member Clark,
Yes.
Member Morales,
Yes.
Member Peralta,
Yes.
Member Hepburn.
Yes.
Chair, the item is passed.
Thank you. All right, we can go ahead and move on to the next item.
Thank you, Chair. The next item is to provide you with the feedback on the AECOM contract with respect to Montebello grade separation project. When staff recommended task order 1, revision 5 to the committee for approval on January 25th, we indicated that nearly 2/3 of the proposed cost increase was attributed to interagency coordination efforts to be carried out by our consultants. Staff agree with the committee's concern and also your guidance on the premium for outsourcing the utility coordination activity instead of being handled by an in-house staff. The added cost to AECOM for the Montebello grade separation project became indicative to us that we would be paying similar premium to other consultants on several other ongoing ACE projects as well. Therefore, staff has recommended to the executive director for backfilling the vacancy of a utility coordinator in the very near future. In the meantime, staff has asked AECOM to reduce the cost estimate for providing only as needed utility coordination. We expect to receive a revised cost proposal from AECOM in the next couple of weeks, hopefully a couple of days, then recommend to the committee for approvals. However, task 1 has expired on January 31st, 2021. Staff cannot direct AECOM to provide technical support other than the utility coordination work, even though there's still available budget in task order 1. The expiration has caused at least 1 month of delay to the constructability review by AECOM. So we're doing everything we can to allow AECOM to resume their review work and so that we can minimize additional delay. In order to avoid further delays to the pre-construction activities, we will issue task order number 1, revision 5, that extends the period of performance for AECOM to September 30th, 2021. As a no-cost increase, time extension only authorization, AECOM therefore would be able to resume their work with the approved budget shortly. Staff has asked AECOM to submit a cost proposal for providing limited utility coordination in the near future. In the near term, a new task order, we will be labeled as task order number 3, will present it to the committee in March for approval. And with that, I will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, this item is for receive and file.
Okay. Are there any hands up that I'm not seeing? I see Member Shevlin has her hand up.
I'm sorry, that's old. That's old. Sorry.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Any comments or questions from the committee? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Anything you want to add, Mr. Shed?
No, that concludes my report on this very important item. I want to compliment the committee for for providing your guidance. And then it really forced us to go back to our drawing board. And so we have a couple important tasks that we're working on. We'll report back to you.
Okay, we do need to take action on this item.
This is a receive and file, so no action is required.
Yep. Okay, got it. All right, we'll go ahead and move into the next item, which is for the next session, which is closed session.
Yes, thank you, Chair Sandoval. The committee will be adjourning to closed session for conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4, and there's two potential cases. We'll take the settlement negotiations with Keuchel Investment Properties first, and Cindy Marion will be joining us. She's representing the COG on that matter, and then we will take the default of contract by Gotcha Mobility second. So when Deanna's ready, we'll go into closed session.
Amy is setting up the closed session.
Oh, she is? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to set up break rooms right now.
Yeah, sit tight.
Some people in, I need to add more. I think if everybody who's supposed to be in there can go, I think you can choose to go into the breakout rooms. I'm having a hard time getting everybody in at the same time. Does anybody have that? Do you have the options to go to the breakout room? If you can, click on there and go in.
I don't think we have.
It's not appearing on the
I haven't
screen.
seen it yet, no.
Good. I know that sometimes when you press leave, there's an option to go to the breakout room, but I'm not seeing that here.
It's also, Amy, it's saying it's live still on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to put everybody out, and I need to keep it live. There we go. Okay, 1 second. Almost got you.
Putting us in the wine tasting room. What was that? I'm sorry.
A little early.
It's never too early.
Not these days.
Go ahead. Let's see. I think you should be going soon. Come on. Oh.
Hey, Eric, who on your staff was going to be participating for the Keuchel negotiations?
Our senior
what did I not put in here? Settlement recognition, this matter, okay, that arises. The subject property, procedural posture of the
This meeting has been adjourned at 2:08 p.m.